is the first day of June right here in Lagos, Nigeria. Good morning, good evening, wherever in the world you're watching from. It's Business Morning live from Channels HQs. Great to have you join us. And today, we got some unconfirmed reports in the media and on social media that the CBN has devalued the naira, but this is unconfirmed. It's all over social media at this point, but right here on Channels Television, we don't take information that we have not been able to confirm. So we're reaching out to the regulators and CBN to reach out to us and let us know if this news is real. So it's all over the place right now, but we don't have confirmation about that. Remember, fake news is rampant at this time, so be careful the kind of news you consume at this time. So we're still waiting for confirmation on the state of the naira. But let's take a look at how the markets are kicking off June, starting with the oil markets. Now we see oil prices rose today, reversing earlier losses as a potential pause in U.S. interest rate hikes and debt ceiling bill passing a crucial vote, renewed optimism about further fuel demand growth in the world's biggest oil consumer. Brent crude futures for August rose 32 cents to $72.92 a barrel, while U.S. WTI crude rose about 25 cents, about 0.37% to $68.34 a barrel. U.S. Federal Reserve officials pointed towards a potential rate hike skip in June that reversed market expectations of an imminent hike that could slow economic growth and weaken oil demand. We'll drill down on drivers of that market later on. Let's look at the grains market now. Chicago wheat futures gained more ground today as the market continued to recover from last session's low. More than 2 years on bargain buying and concerns over rains damaging China's wheat crop. Soybeans and corn prices rose with dryness forecasts for the newly planted crops in the U.S. Midwest. The most active wheat contracts on the Chicago Board of Trade, WV1, added about 1.1% to $6 for 3/4 of a bushel after dropping to its lowest since December 2020 yesterday. Soybeans SV1 added 1% to $13.12 for half a bushel, and corn CV1 gained about 0.7% to $5.98 a bushel. Wheat prices are recovering after suffering deep losses driven by ample global supplies and a lack of demand for U.S. cargoes. And to some news now, the Debt Management Office says, contrary to reopenings of old bonds earlier planned for June, it will be issuing 3 new bonds within the month. It's contained in its revised FGN bonds issuance calendar for the second quarter of the year, which was released on Tuesday. According to the DMO, the new FGN bonds issuances, which range from 10 to 30 years, are expected to raise between 240 billion and 300 billion naira. Some company news now. As part of its strategic moves to boost trade and investment between Nigeria and France, Axis Bank PLC, one of Nigeria's biggest financial services institutions, has launched the Axis Bank French Business Desk. The launch is in partnership with the government of France with the aim of promoting stronger business and bilateral relationship between Axis Bank and Business France. Take a listen.
With a lot of excitement, we talk about Axis Bank French Desk.
A significant milestone in Axis Bank's drive to continue supporting the efforts of Nigeria and France. And this official launch of the Axis Bank French Business Desk is geared towards ensuring the growth and prosperity of small, medium and large-scale companies. The bank says, among other things, the desk will provide enhanced services and support to French businesses and individuals operating in Nigeria.
It's an extremely important platform for us and will serve as a vital link between Business France, Propaco, AFD, and other multilateral organizations. It will provide tailored support and guidance to French businesses operating in Nigeria, as well as Nigerian businesses seeking to expand their presence in France.
It's a collaboration that also draws praises from the Minister of State for Development, Francophonie and International Partnerships.
this French desk that can make easier also the engagement of the private sector, of the big French firms that can come and invest. It is important that we can work together. We have many challenges, but we have also together the solution.
Highlight of the launch is the signing ceremony, which signals a bilateral strategic partnership between Access Bank and Business France. And a moment to network.
The bank has grown through partnerships, and we've leveraged those partnerships to support our customers and offer real value that is distinctive and makes a difference in the lives of our customers. So what this is yet another opportunity to grow partnership.
This alliance signifies Access Bank's commitment to foster stronger economic ties between Nigeria and France. The bank says it will also serve as a bridge in facilitating business opportunities, promote trade and bilateral investment between Nigeria and France.
All right, to our first conversation now. Well, cost of governance is a much talked about issue in the Nigerian political discourse. Politicians are seen as flamboyant and earn some of the largest salaries compared to their counterparts in other parts of the world. About 40% of national budget goes into recurrent expenditure, and revenue is squeezed right now in Nigeria, even as debt servicing gets a huge chunk of the budget. Joining me now is Mr. Gbolahan Lojide, Public Finance Advisor. Great to have you on the show. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Nice to be on the program.
Fantastic. So we did get that report that former President Buhari, former VP Osinbajo and others to get about 64.72 billion naira severance package at a time where we're in dire need, of revenue. Can we afford, the government with all of these headwinds, looking at right now, we're trying to, we're servicing a lot of debt right now, and to fund the budget, we're still having to borrow, for that. How are you seeing all of this?
I don't think the problem is that 62.4 billion or thereabout. It was just a screaming headline. When you go into the details, after mentioning Buhari and Osinbajo, that word, others, included 360 members of the House of Rep, included their aides, included the governors and their aides, included the aides of the ministers and the ministers themselves, and the aides at the presidency and special assistant. So it's a whole lot of people. So by the time you break it down, you find out that the severance package for the president, for example, was about 12 million naira. What is 12 million naira? As a matter of fact, it's such an embarrassing amount that may be part of the problem that we need to solve in the future is to consider how we can make post-exit interesting for people like the president, so that while they are in office, they're able to concentrate on the work, not thinking about the fact that when I'm leaving this place, my severance package will be 12 million. 12 million is how much? Maybe about $13,000 or $16,000. I'd say it is not a deal. When you go further and you look at the pension for the president, it comes to about 350,000 naira every month. Who does that? Who gives their president 350,000 naira every month? So there's a problem right there. However, here is where the money is drifting away that we are not watching. It is in the number of aides that some of these public officials have. I don't know if you remember that Wike at some point appointed about 200,000 aides. They were being paid from government coffers. The same thing goes with a lot of our public officials who will appoint and appoint and appoint. We've even seen something as ridiculous as, was it Commissioner for Enjoyment or something like that in Imo State at some point. So that could be where we're wasting this money. We must also begin to ask some questions. I mean, from a numbers perspective like myself, I'm saying, why do we even need a bicameral legislation? What naira and kobo value is the fact that 360 people have reviewed something and another 109 is sitting on that same document. What naira and kobo does it translate to for me? Maybe there are political exigencies in the evolution of democratic process that made a bicameral necessary. But from a money perspective, it doesn't make sense, and I think we must be asking questions amongst ourselves. We also have issues of ghost workers. Who are we paying? Recently, there was a report that spoke about a salary padding. In one of those salaries that were padded, we had someone who was being paid 4 times what was the legal entitlement. So these are some of those places where the money are going to. But in terms of the per individual payment, severance package given to president or vice president, they are actually
so I guess the severance packages isn't the issue, is the number of aides. Okay, but what do you think, because at this time, you know, we're cash-strapped, you know, right now, and we're servicing huge debt at this point. Recently, the subsidy issue now, that's another one that's biting, you know, seriously at this time. And at the end of the day, the burden is being passed on, you know, to the masses. Also, in trying to raise revenue, we've talked about increasing VAT, you know, increasing the, you know, taxes, you know, at this time, which still translates to a burden for households and businesses. How can we get solutions, you know, right now for this revenue problem that does not involve shifting burden to the people?
Okay, 2 things we need to do. We must reduce wastage and corruption. And then we must actually rev up our revenues on the other side. If we do these 2 things, we will expand that gap and they will have more money on the table to run the government properly. Cost, I've spoken about ghost workers. Sometimes we don't even know who we are paying. Some of those people don't appear in any office, but they're on the payroll and they get paid every month. What is even more ridiculous with ghost workers is that in certain instances, I mean, from time to time, we will say, oh, we have discovered 10 ghost workers on a particular payroll. These ghost workers, they received salary last month. Let's say we have 10 people on the payroll. So 10 people received salary last month, but we found out that 5 of them were ghosts this month. So we will not be paying those ghosts any longer. But the question is, who were the people that received the ghost salary last month? Do we go back there, ensure that they vomit what they collected? Because see, the reality is that if somebody has been collecting salary, it is either it comes around and collect cash. I'm not sure we still pay cash salaries, at least not at the federal government level. So which means we transfer it to a particular account. The account has detail, it has a BVN, it has address, it has picture. But we have not heard that ghost workers have been punished in this country before. That, oh, these 10,000 people that we found out were ghosts, these were the people, and we have recovered the money. We don't do that. So there is wastage, there is corruption, which we need to think about the fact that recently a former minister was said to have appropriated 22 billion. It's still an investigation. I'm not saying I've found guilty. 22 billion naira. You also have the former accountant general who is still in the midst of 89 billion naira. You see, when you look at the quantum of this number, 89 billion, some states do not have that much money to spend in an entire year in terms of net revenue. So, and these are the money that are in the coffers and are being taken out indiscriminately without us being able to police that system. So we need to deal with cost matters, corruption matters. On the other side, we must rev up revenue. Now, you spoke about taxes. We have to be very careful how we navigate issues of tax. And I'm glad that the president has spoken to that. He spoke about multiple taxation and how we will be revisiting it. He wants to create the right environment for businesses to do well. And the reason is this. These same businesses are going to pay you corporate income tax. If you have stifled their operations with multiple taxation and you rev up their cost profile, then they will not be making much money. If they don't make much money, where are you expecting the taxes that they will pay you? Where will they come from? So I'm thinking that the president will most likely be revisiting the Finance Act 2023 to ensure that things that might not be business friendly are addressed. Issues about increase.
Speech, he did talk about getting rid of multiple.
It's a very delicate balance, and I hope we can do something about it.
Yes, and definitely it has to be done, but what would that really look like? You know, if the Tinubu government is looking to cut cost of governance, what should that look like, you know, for us?
Number one, we need to review the personnel costs. When you go back to the recurrent expenditure, which is about 40% of the entire budget for this year, we must ask, like I've mentioned a couple of times now, who are those people? We review it. We weed off people that are not supposed to be on the payroll. We will save money from that. We deal with matters of corruption. You see, one of the things where we have fought corruption in this country is we wait till people have stolen our money. Then we start chasing after them, hoping to recover. Some of the people that stole money 8 years ago have not even stepped back into this country. We don't even have a window to prosecute them at all. So prevention of those things must be there. We need to also create the right environment for businesses, which is part of what the president said he was going to do. So issues around infrastructure. Let's look at agriculture. In agriculture in Nigeria, about 40% of what we produce gets rotten. A basket of tomatoes that was about 12,000 naira in February is about 40,000 as we are speaking. So issues that make it difficult for farmers to either go to their farm, those are insecurity matters. Issues after they have gone to the farm and harvested, issues that make it difficult for them to bring the product from center of production to the center of consumption in the market is a problem we must address. Issues around value add. No country gets rich, no country makes money by exporting primary product or dealing in primary. So the industrialization side of things, how we deal with matters of electricity, how we deal with matters of transportation system to ensure that the right business environment is created. When it is created and businesses thrive, there is a way it triggers mutual prosperity. When businesses thrive, they pass on the prosperity onto staff, onto other stakeholders within the system, and the government earns more money from corporate income taxes, from the pay-as-you-earn, that the staff will also be able to contribute to the center. Of course, taxation comes ready-handy, but the start point for taxation is not to increase them. Taxation starts from being able to deal with the issues of collection. There's a collection effectiveness and the collection efficiency. Efficiency has to do with how much are we spending to collect a naira of revenue. Effectiveness has to do with the fact that in many books of companies today, salaries are deducted as payee from staff, and those deductions are not remitted to the authority. And along that, we also have several other leakages. So there is the collection efficiency and effectiveness. Then we need to now also bring in more people into that tax net. There are a lot of people that don't pay that. And incidentally, some of them are actually the high-earning people, people in the top 1%, top 5% earnings who do not pay, because it is easier for you and I, who probably are paid salary, and somebody will have removed the taxes from the salary before you get the net. Now, there are some people who are not paid like that. And the capacity of the FIRS and the local tax authority, the state tax authority, to track the income of those people, I must admit it has been increasing, but it has not translated as much into the pockets of the government. So collection issues, expanding the net, and then after we have done that, government must be able to now show the people that your tax money is working for you. When the people know that the tax money is working, they are in a better position to want to pay you more taxes. that is when you can start talking of,
right.
oh.
Well, I guess we need to block all the leakages so we can actually get more revenue at this time, because we are in dire need of revenue right now. Thank you so much, Mr. Bolan Olojide, Public Finance Advisor. Thank you so much for your perspective today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so now, we've gotten a response now from the Central Bank of Nigeria. They said Central Bank of Nigeria has denied devaluing the naira to 630 naira to dollar from the previous rate of 461 naira to the dollar. So they have, CBN is denying this right now. This follows a report from the Daily Trust newspapers that the CBN had devalued the naira in accordance to the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's call for the unified exchange rate. Analyst says that if the move was accurate, it would have helped to address the widened gap between the official and parallel markets. In his inaugural speech, we did remember that the president did mention unifying the exchange rate. But right now, we have clarification now from the Central Bank of Nigeria. The naira is not devalued officially. All right, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll look at how the consumer is doing right now and consumer goods producers, how they performed in 2022 and what to look out for in 2023. That's our next conversation. Do stay with us. In the go-to mobile financial solution for Nigerians, and this trade fair is to celebrate the journey so far. It was all fun and excitement to the Eagles Club in Surulere, as Momo agents and customers not only get to experience fast and seamless transactions with Momo, they also enjoy amazing discounts with food, games, music, and lots more.
Momo is for everyone. I think what is important for us is to ensure that everybody's financially included by exploring ways we can partner with different stakeholders. One of the key challenges for financial inclusion is the onboarding process of people into the financial system. And Momo is ready to address that. How do we do that? Anyone who has a phone today can use Momo. All you need to do is basically for a prospective customer to dial *671#, and that's it. You become a Momo customer.
With Momo, customers don't need to have a bank account to send or receive money. All that is required is a visit to a Momo agent to make a transaction, and users of the service testify to Momo's features.
I actually heard about it through Instagram, and one of the amazing things about them is the fact that the transaction is smooth, very easy to use. Like, you can get the money immediately once you get payment from your customers.
Momo app is valuable in a way that you are very, very sure that nobody is running away with your money. If anything comes up, you know where to go. You have an office to go to.
I will have to say that they have the fastest services I've experienced when it comes to payment. You get it within a second. It's really, really fast. And the only downturn is that it's not really popular yet. But I really wish they could work on that, and it's been excellent so far.
The Momo Trade Fair 2023 served as an opportunity to not only celebrate the one-year anniversary of Momo PSB's launch in Nigeria, but also to spread word to everyone to start the journey of Momo.
Momo, better than cash.
Welcome back. Still watching Business Morning live on Channels Television. Well, last week, AfriInvest Research published the 2023 Nigerian brewery sector update report titled Sipping for Value. The report dissected the major factors that shaped the global and domestic brewery industry landscape in 2022. To share insights from this report, now I have Damilare Shimiu, Head of Investment Research at AfriInvest Research and Consulting. Great to have you on the show.
Yes, good morning, Nadi.
Good morning. So Looking at the report now, it's the brewery sector report titled "Sipping for Value." Put this in theme. Put this theme in perspective for me. What is the reality? What reality did brewers and most of these consumer goods manufacturers, what do they face in 2022?
Thank you once again, Ladi, for having me on this show, and good morning to all our viewers across the globe watching this. So literally, when someone is sipping a drink, they have two broad objectives to achieve: either to take your time to enjoy the full value of the drink because you're taking at your convenient time, or because you're trying to slow down for an impurity to come closer and you take it away. But in the context of this report, what we're saying is that the Nigerian market, if you look at the structure, the composition, presents what you would describe as a huge potential for brewers. You talk about a population of about 217 million, out of which over 105 million fall between the beer consuming age of 18 and above. You have a population whereby more than 165 million are between the age of 2 and 65, which is the age that can conveniently take some level of sugar in terms of talking about non-alcoholic drink, and it's allowed medically. But when you look at this kind of a market that is actually bigger than the combined of the West Africa together, you will think it will be an easy ride for brewers to milk this market and optimize it. But the reality of what the brewers have been going through over the last couple of years, which 2022 also presents a more challenging experience for them, is the fact that they have to be sipping that value that's supposed to be very huge. And to put it in context, brewers, after an impressive recovery from the shock of COVID-19 in 2020, posted decent earnings in 2021. 2022 came, and the brewers woke up to the effects of the negative spillover from the war in Ukraine, which began February last year, which sent price of major inputs skyrocketing, which affected their prices, and it affected their operational costs too as well. But in spite of these numerous challenges, right, we saw price of major items like wheat, which Russia is a major producer, like fertilizer, which is very important for agricultural products, some of which are also input in brewery products, skyrocketing, talk of crude oil price or energy goods price. This thing that directly affected brewers' operation. But again, in spite of those challenges and the inherent systemic challenges that brewers have been facing in Nigeria, the logistic problem, the exchange rate problem, and also more pronounced recently, the increased pressure on consumer purchasing wallet due to runaway inflation. Nigerian brewers were still able to sip out value. And that's what we saw in their earnings number last year, where they grew revenue, at least for the three brewers that we use as proxy for the industry, talk of Nigerian breweries, Guinness, and international breweries, combinedly growing in revenue by about 25%. And when you compare that to 2021, yes, 2021 revenue grew almost 35%. But 2021 was coming from a low year, because there was a pandemic in 2020.
That's a base year effect.
25% growth is huge, and that exactly is what that topic is saying, that the brewer had to sip for value. Yes, the market actually has that potential in terms of population, in terms of demography. Okay. But the challenging environment makes it difficult, but brewers were still standing on top of.
All right, it was definitely a challenging year. That's 2022, but we're now in 2023, and now that the new administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has shown strong indication to remove, the payment of PMS subsidy. We've seen the official rates now for a liter of petrol, about 500 naira, in some parts, and looking at all of this will definitely impact the consumer's disposable income. What are you expecting for 2023? You did say 2022 was tough. They had to sip for value. How are they going to sip for value in 2023? Because I'm sure if you have to choose between, buying a drink and, filling up your car, transport costs is going to go up. How's that going to play out for the industry?
Yeah, thank you very much, Lad. Overall, we actually believe that the brewers will still be able to manage to grow their top line by a modest 5% this year. So basically, we are projecting the revenue for that industry using our current proxy might touch 1 trillion level. But again, looking beyond that, the ability to achieve that is anchored on our expectation that the macroeconomic environment will be stable, especially from H2. H1 this year was a bit devastating for brewers. We have some of them that booked severe loss. For instance, Nigerian breweries booked a loss of over 10 billion in Q1 due to the knock-on effect of the currency crunch. Now, tying this to the recent development around the removal of PMS subsidy. Now, the brewery sector happens one of those few sectors of the economy that have direct correlation in terms of the capacity and purchasing power of household. So with the removal of subsidy at a time that wages are still at the hold level, you already realize that the purchasing power of household will be hit, and that will perhaps affect our consumption. And if we use the 2019 National Living Standards Survey data of the National Bureau of Statistics to provide a guide, right? The survey revealed that an average household spend about 65% of income on food and basic things. And out of the composition of expenditure on food and basic things, just about 3.2% goes into consumption of alcohol and non-alcoholic things. So invariably, what that means is that the consumption of alcohol and non-alcoholic drink in the scale of preference of a typical household is not high there. So food comes first, housing and what have you. So to a large extent, to most households, drinks and every other thing is like a secondary need. So if there's severe pressure on the purchasing power, where we have major items like housing, like transportation, but the moment when price is increased, food price goes up, and you begin to see some other essential things like even house rent also jacking up, then it means that a lot of households might be forced to reduce demand. But one of the things we feel might help the brewers is that with this Africa-Free Continental Trade Agreement in place, the brewers can improve their expansion towards neighboring countries to sell more. And last year, we saw them increasing prices on virtually all brands. As a matter of fact, on average, there was a 25% increase on all brands. So the full effect of the increase in price last year and the ability to penetrate the neighboring market will help them in driving a modest 5% growth. But when you look at that, our expectation of 5% growth in industry revenue compared to the last 2 years, you see that it's not looking very rosy. And the performance in Q1 already gave a hint of what is to come.
And definitely the increase in price of fuel, definitely that's going to play into the whole, inflation story. But how far do you think the consumer, how much do you think the consumer can take, at this time? Because with fuel prices going up, definitely this is going to affect everything. So what kind of cushion do you think can be created for consumers, at this time? Because if the consumers are weak, definitely the producers are going to feel the impact.
Absolutely. I think the strategy to ensure that the brewery sector and other critical sector of the economy don't get suppressed in this period of radical policy changes have to be balanced from both sides. Now, speaking to the brewery industry, we expect that there are some very encouraging trend that we have been seeing recently. For instance, last year, most Nigerian brewers source more than 70% of their raw material and inputs locally, right? So which is a very good development, because it means many of them are also investing in backward integration. So it gives them more room to absorb a lot of shocks. Now, but from the perspective of the consumer, it's very important that the government begin to come up with a lot of other initiatives that will help shoulder the effect of some of the reform. Because like I mentioned earlier, the brewery sector and most consumer goods sector have a direct correlation. There's a direct correlation between the demand level and the performance of industry players. So even though events might be compelling brewers to jack up price, they will still be a bit cautious around that, because if they drive more prices, it will affect volume. For instance, last year, based on an estimate, industry volume only managed to expand by just about 2.5% to about 20.6 million hectoliters, which is very slow. Very low. And even based on an estimate for this year, we're not seeing volume expanding by more than 1.7%, which is very low. So, and the what effect this means is that if volume expansion is very low, then the other option that brewers will have is to jack up price. But again, given the fact that income is very lean and household does not really have, an average household doesn't rate consumption of beer or non-alcoholic beer as a priority because of the national living standards of very household deployment. Then it means that it might have direct impact on performance of beer. So we think that the new government that is just coming on board will come up with a lot of initiatives that will cushion the effect, even if we're removing subsidy. Though we think that should be like a phased process, not aggressive. But even if we're doing it aggressively, we need to do a lot of things to ease the burden on households so that other sector of the economy will not take a hit, especially like the brewery sector in terms of their performance.
I guess consumers and producers are going through a lot at this time. Thank you so much, Damilare Shimi. You head investment research, AfriInvest Research and Consulting. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, and just a reminder, we did get those confirmed report earlier that the Central Bank of Nigeria had devalued the naira to about 630 officially, but we have confirmation from the Central Bank of Nigeria. They have denied devaluing the naira, so it remains at the previous rate of about 461 naira range at this point. Remember, those reports were unconfirmed, but now we have confirmation from the Central Bank of Nigeria. So it's official. The naira remains officially at the current value. It is not devalued at this time, as the reports that we got earlier from papers like Daily Trust newspapers and a couple of other newspapers, and definitely on social media. It was all over social media talking about the naira being devalued, but no, it is not devalued at this time, because the CBN have come out and they have responded right now. They've denied it. So you can remember, this is a time where fake news is going to be rampant, so you have to be careful the kind of news that you consume. Always remember, we here at Channels Television, whatever news we give you, we make sure that it is confirmed, so you can trust us to get confirmed news right here on Channels Television. All right, let's head on to our next conversation. Let's look at what's happening in commodities market. Joining me now is Oluwatomi Mayowa, Senior Analyst, Financial Derivatives Company. Great to have you on the show.
Good morning, Ladi. Thank you very much for having me.
Right, so yeah, it's official now. We did see the NNPCL increase the petroleum pump prices nationwide. How's the domestic commodities market? Is it reacting to this yet?
Let me first of all start by saying that, all of these are, happening at the same time. Fuel prices up and diesel prices up, and it's a matter of it's a question of what will happen to the consumer, what will happen to businesses, and then the economy in general. And so looking at the consumer, definitely we're going to see, in fact, it has happened already. Transportation cost has actually increased by nothing less than 50%. The likes of Uber and Bolt and all of that, they've increased their price significantly. And so because of that increase in transportation costs, we're going to see a decline in disposable income. And so as a result of that, they will have to just manage with what is left. And looking at what will happen to businesses, they're going to see an increase in their logistic cost and also their operation cost. And why they are trying to pass this cost to their consumers, the consumers are also trying to reduce their whatever they are buying. So it has significant impact on the business. And looking at the economy in general, we're going to see that slow down in the pace of growth in the short term, as a result of all of this happening to both the consumer and businesses. And looking at the fact that the consumption accounts for about 70% of the GDP. So all of this has a serious implication, even though it's actually in the short term. But on the long term, we're going to see the more funds will be available for the government to be able to provide, public projects and all of that. So although the government should start looking for how to be able to ameliorate this pains that the consumers are actually facing. So generally, we've seen increase in the price of transportation costs, and that will begin to filter into commodities, the price of commodities generally. It's only a matter of time. Everything in the market will, will all, the price will all, increase significantly.
Yes, some have called it short-term pain for
Yes.
long-term gains at this point, because we do need to get rid of subsidy at this time. But we're seeing diesel prices, though. That's up by 18%, about 745 naira per liter. Those prices were trending downward. That's diesel prices
Downwards, yeah.
were trending down before. So why are we seeing this quick switch now?
Well, the thing is because the demand for fuel, will actually increase, and then we're also seeing that chain effect going into the diesel price, because they know that once there's more the price of fuel increase, people want to run towards diesel, and so that has also puts pressure on the price of diesel. So that's why I'm also seeing that increase. So people are just trying to look for how to be able to reduce the pain, because this was a little bit of it was sudden for the market. So because of that increase in the price of fuel, we're seeing demand also go into the diesel, which has also raised the price of diesel. So that's why we're seeing that increase also.
Yeah, it would definitely be great to see data showing, the demand for diesel at this point, because that switch was really fast, if you ask me. But let's look at the global oil market now. We're seeing oil prices, inching up today. What's driving sentiment in the oil markets right now?
Well, I would say that this increase, it's just a short-term increase, because earlier on we had about 6% plunge in the price of an oil price. Why? Because I would say before now, investors and markets were actually they had positive sentiment that oil price will trade nothing less than $80 per barrel. Why? Because there was going to be the recovery in the Chinese economy because of the fact that the zero COVID policy were eliminated. But now we've seen that the manufacturing industry in China, has actually recorded a contraction. When you look at the data that came out recently in May, so it contracted by more than what was expected, and so that has actually fueled negative sentiment in the oil markets. But recently, we've seen that that the U.S. Fed had signaled that they might not, increase interest rates in their next meeting. In the fact, considering the fact that they might want to see the impact of the increase, the current increases they've done. So they are trying to, put a hold, and that does not mean that going forward they're going to lower rates or they're going to push rates. They're just trying to wait and see the effects of the current rate hikes they've had. So I think that's what is to a large extent fueling the positive sentiment in the market in the short term.
Right, all investors at this point looking for some kind of pause or rate cut going forward so they can enjoy these markets. But thank you so much. Keep watching to see what the central bankers are going to do next. Thank you so much, Oluwatomi Mayowa, Senior Analyst, Financial Derivatives Company.
Thank you very much, Larry.
All right, let's head on to the markets. We definitely saw that big bounce. That was on Tuesday. Big jump there in the market, about 5.22%. Talking about the domestic bourse right here in Nigeria. But for yesterday, we're not seeing that much of a jump. But we have Aniete with the details right now. Great to have you, Aniete. And thank God.
Happy New Month.
Happy New Month. And yeah, what a way to start the month with that story about the naira being devalued by the CBN on confirmed reports that we got earlier. But now we have confirmed reports from the CBN. They have denied it. So the naira remains at about that 400 range.
Well,
officially.
Yeah, I would like to say that I wasn't expecting, well, the rumor to me was much expected, because when the president had announced that there would be a unified exchange rate, markets, particularly the speculators as well as the players, they were expecting that some kind of amount or some kind of level should be arrived at for the naira. But of course, this is just a rumor which has been clarified by the central bank that it's false. No media reports quoting that is true. And as I said now, the naira is still at about a 461 on the CBN's website. That's for the investors and exporters window of the market. But we'll be talking more about the currencies market as well as the fixed income market. We'll give you the details of that as well as the equities market.
Fantastic.
Now, all right, so we're starting first with the fixed income market, bonds market, the bonds segment of the fixed income market. It was with a bearish sentiment. We saw the sell-off on the March 2024 paper, and then also there was a contraction at the long end of the curve. Average yield had expanded by 2 basis points to 13.9%. But when you see your board there, the 27th of March 2050 paper, it was the most attractive in terms of the participants there. We had 7 deals. The total value there, 5.6 billion naira. It was seconded by 21st of January 2042 paper, which had just about, which had 5 deals, 3.5 billion naira, and then the total figure in terms of the deals and the value there, 27 number of deals and 18.85 billion naira. Let's flip over to the Treasury bills market. We saw bullish sentiments there, and that's because average yield there is a decline at the short end, 228 basis points, and then at the long end, it declined by 39 basis points due to buying sentiments on the 8 dates to maturity paper. And then, of course, we also saw some other papers within that segment. But on your board there, the 14th of March 2024 paper, 4 deals, 30 billion naira, and at a discount of 14.62%, but look at the bigger picture there. The total value there is 67.64 billion naira, and total number of deals carried out 64. Now moving over to the Momo market, the open market operations there, not much of activity there for that market, just 4 deals, and then the total number of deals carried out there, just 7. Then moving over to the central bank special bills, we also saw that it was moderate. Not much of activity. The loaner there was the 27th of March 2023 paper later this year. And total number of deals there, 3 at a discount of 3.95%. Now, we will be talking to Caleb Alimi, the fixed income dealer at Providence Bank, to give us more details on this market as well as the currencies market. So, Caleb, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us, Caleb.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Good morning, Anita.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm sure you've heard about this news. First of all, it was a rumor, but we also have a clarification now. So just in 120 seconds, give us details about the fixed income market coming at about 3 days after the president announced some sweeping reforms for the market, for the financial market, as well as the naira, which is it ended yesterday at about 464 naira 67 kobo against the dollar at the investors and exporters window. So can you tell us more about this market at the moment?
Okay, so real quick, on the currency market, the FX market, we already know that CBN has come out to say they haven't done any devaluation. When I saw that report this morning as well, I knew it was unfounded in the sense that there was no retail SMIS market yesterday where the CBN sold FX at the level that the journalists quoted. And thankfully, the CBN has come out with a statement to clarify that. And then jumping straight back into the fixed income market, what we've seen in that space is largely be the demand for for papers around the short end of the curve, and also there's been some changes in the auction calendar for the month of June. Before now, the DMO was reopening the 2032, 2042, and 2050 papers, but then they replaced those ones with a new 10-year paper, 2033, a new 15-year paper, 2038, and a new 30-year paper, 2053. That's why you've seen a bit of, activity on the 2042 and the 2050 paper. What happens is once there is a replacement of a particular paper, there seems to be some sort of demand for the paper that is going out. Why? Because some traders or some investors may have taken what we call short positions on those. So you could see a short squeeze or a correction of, that sort of activity happening. Now, what we also expect on the broader space is, yes, the president has come to say subsidy is gone, but the former president also established that subsidy was not part of the budget for this year. And so we do not expect any significant change to the borrowing program of the DMO For example, in the month of June, they still hope to raise between 360 to 400 billion. And then we wait for the calendar for the third quarter. That's July to August, July to September rather. That will come out later this month. It will give us further color and further clarity on what they intend to do. But for those of us in the market, with the understanding that they did not put the subsidy in the budget, we don't expect an increase in the borrowing program per se. We don't expect a significant change in the borrowing program per se, but that will become clear in a couple of days or in a few weeks' time.
Thank you for that analysis, Caleb. Of course, eyes are always on all the markets. We're very grateful for that analysis. So that was Caleb Alimi, fixed income dealer at Providence Bank. Let's move over to the equities market. Now, so far it had the biggest gain for any, on the first day in office of any president. It was 5.22%. So far, when President Obasanjo took over in 1999, the market was up 0.1%. When Yaradua took over, it was unchanged. And when President Jonathan took over, it was up by 0.1%. So far, the 5.22% was the biggest so far, and then just 1.5 trillion naira. Now, there was some kind of profit taking. We had 39 losers against 30 gainers, which saw the market gain just a tad, 0.06%, 17 billion naira. And then, of course, we also saw the activity chart being in a mixed picture. Volume of transactions was down, while the value was up. And then for the market today, we were expecting a kind of a mixed outing by participants.
Mixed outing, not another big jump like we saw on Tuesday.
Not a big jump.
All right, thank you so much, Aditi.
Pleasure.
Aditi, they're giving us the details from the local bourse and the fixed income markets. Let's head on to other markets now. We see Bitcoin did fail to increase above the 28,000 resistance. So we're seeing Bitcoin struggling under that level. The sentiment in the market, neutral at this point. It's not fear yet. It's not extreme greed. That's what we've been used to for the past couple of weeks. But now we're getting used to neutral for this market. Let's look at the top cryptocurrencies that we track. Now we see Bitcoin there below 28,000 level now, 26,000. Going back, retesting that 26K level, down 1.13%. Even though most traders were expecting a lot of bullish news and bullish sentiment this week, it's not looking like that. Ethereum, that's down 0.57%, below that $2,000 psychological level. BNB, $304, looking like it's going below $300 at this point. We see some profit taking with XRP, 2.36%, even though XRP has had quite a run with the XRP team there scoring some points against the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission there with that legal battle, if XRP is a security or not. Still have that going on right now, but we're seeing some profit taking, even though the coin did get to about 50 cents, talking about XRP. Let's look at the top gainers this morning. We see XDC topping the counter, two-digit gain, 26.93% at 3 cents. That's what's trading at today. GRT, 10 cents, up 7.31%. So we're seeing mixed sentiment in the market, but it's still neutral at this point. Let's bring in Olumide Additional, our financial market analyst. Hello, Olumide. Great to have you. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me, Ladi.
Yeah, happy new month. And definitely June is looking quite uninteresting, starting off quite uninteresting, even though it's still early days in the month right now. But we did talk about Hong Kong last week. They have rules for crypto trading. They're going to allow retail traders trade officially in Hong Kong. They're going to allow some licenses for exchanges to sell, cryptocurrencies. I think they've talked about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some top cryptocurrencies in the market. So it's June 1st now. How are you seeing it? The market is not reacting to this Hong Kong news.
Yeah, exactly. Just like rightly highlighted, one would have expected that such narrative would have really boosted the bull wagon in the decisive evolving financial markets. Recall that Bitcoin this year has popped up by more than 70%. So expectations are with that coming to play. One would have expected much liquidity. But it's fair to understand that Bitcoin and other altcoins are on the defensive, and pretty much it's because the US economy seems to be very resilient, and also the fact that China's economic data is not as exciting as it should. So what we are seeing right now is that the US Fed seems to be aggressive. Data says that they might likely increase interest rates for the 11th time in a row. and that's why we see the US dollar crushing many assets across board. Also, they're also seeing the fact that stable coins holdings have reduced for 14th month in a row. Data for Crypto Compare highlighted the fact that the amount of stable coin stash among investors has been plummeting ever since the debanking that happened last year. So it's been also weighing on the crypto market. But having said that, I think what investors will be looking at more importantly is Friday's job report in the United States. The indicator is that any strong number definitely will mean bad news for the crypto market, and probably Bitcoin testing around the 25,000 support level. So despite the excitement about the Hong Kong Aurora, investors are pretty much more concerned about the US dollar and previous situation around financial markets.
Right, I guess at the end of the day, it's bullish, but not the effect. We don't have that effect yet in the crypto market, but still regulation at this time. Thank you so much, Olumide Adesina, financial market analyst. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, let's flip on to the top losers now. Let's see who's topping that counter. We see CFX, one of the China coins there. Conflux coin 28 cents, down 7.74. This start that downtrend sell-off there yesterday, but it has made some considerable profit ever since listing. So all eyes still on those China coins with this Hong Kong story at this time. GT, that's $4.52. That's also down 7.27%. Optimism, $1.39, down 6.90%. So we see some notable losses right now, but volatility is really high in this market, and definitely traders are looking for some safety right now. But that's how the market is looking. Still neutral sentiment right now, not bullish yet. All right, that's it for the crypto market, and that's the show today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to join us at 1:30 for Business Incorporated for more updates and developments in the world of business. You can watch this again on our YouTube channel. Just flip over to YouTube, click to videos, and you can watch all our productions. Thank you for watching, and welcome to June. Bye for now.